do you think it's a right move that central banks started hiking interest rates?
I'm very ambiguous about it. So the consensus is that central banks should bring interest rates back to normal levels in order to contain inflation. I think I agree with the first part that it's better to have more normal levels of interest rates, but especially to contain the rise in debt. Because when money is so cheap, they have a rise in debt. That's a big problem. Whether that's the right way to contain inflation is a different issue. When the causes of inflation are really, for instance, largely energy prices, or when they lay outside the need for companies to borrow in order to produce, or the need for consumers to borrow and therefore the cost of borrowing, it is certain that vigorous increases in central bank interest rates will bring down inflation by causing a recession. And everybody is expecting recession in the US because of the rising interest rates by the Federal Reserve. The question is that the right thing to do? It means that most of the pain of containing inflation is then going to fall on workers, basically. While there's also super profits at the moment. Well, if you tax those more, you could also do something about the inflation. So that's a short answer.
Yeah, but I like to hear that, because I find myself a little bit isolated at some point, with discussions with other guests much earlier this year in Learning Economics. It was, I think, where I said, I'm actually not against rise in interest rates or quantitative tightening, but more to contain asset price rises than to contain inflation. And that's very much in line, I think, with what you were saying, right?
Yes, rising interest rates will also contain asset price rises, and that's bound up with the rise in debt, because it's the borrowing that chases up asset price rises, apart from the mechanical thing with bonds, that bonds prices go up, lower interest rate. That would be a positive side effect, but I'm more worried about, given the high levels of debt, a recession will have very serious consequences now. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think that the right way to contain inflation is to cause a recession. But basically, that's what's going to happen.